and now we're also recording. Awesome. This is all an adventure. This is great. So we are
Oh,
live now. So our first ever episode of the yet unnamed gaming podcast. Maybe that is the name. The yet unnamed gaming podcast. You never know. Anyway, my name is Nacho of Nacho and Dog Gaming, or Andrew, or whatever you want to call me to get my attention if you ever need to chat. And I am here with the lovely Wow Kitten of same twitch.tv/Wow Kitten. That is your URL, right?
yepper.
Yeah, sweet. And real name or no real name?
My real name is Lily. If
There you go.
anybody
Yeah,
wants
you
to
say
call
it
me
that
that,
way.
but I
There you go.
prefer kitten, so either one is good. But
Perfect. So I guess no dog today. You couldn't make it in, so it might be two of us as an ongoing sort of thing. It might be more. But we're gonna talk about some different nerdy sort of stuff, some gaming stuff, some movie stuff. I'm a big movie buff. Maybe some comic books, little stuff. I started reading Rocket Raccoon. I got actually my copy right here, #1. So this is a new issue that's out. I got 1 and 2, but I'm trying to actually like get onto a comic book and actually stick with it rather than like just picking up one there and one there. But I'll never do it. I know I won't do it. It's like a TV show. I can't go week to week. I gotta have it all right now.
I have faith. I think you'll get it.
Appreciate it. So news-wise, I'm gonna start out with a little bit of news. Also, we are live streaming this, but we'll figure out how to get it up on iTunes and I guess Google Play. I'm sure you just make an account and upload it, but then we're also gonna try to chop it up a little bit and put it on YouTube if we can break out the old editing skills, which for me are a little rusty.
Yeah, you
But,
got it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So, is there anything that you want to tell the folks about this this podcast, or what it is, what it's going to be?
Well, pretty much this podcast is just aimed to have discussions about random things that we find interesting. So hopefully other people will find them interesting too and jump in our conversations.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of Twitch anyway. There's esports and all that stuff, but a lot of times it's just getting somebody's opinion on certain things and trying to have a laugh and make people smile. Jesus, the world's rough these days. You got to make people smile when you can, right?
Exactly.
All right. So right off something that came right up on the news for me. I don't know if it's important for you. How old are you? You're in your mid-20s? Early 20s?
I'm 25.
25, so exactly mid-20s. I'm
Exactly.
I'm 27, so this might hit home for you the way it hit home for me. But
Let's hear it.
the other day on Pokemon, the anime, like the actual TV show, Pokemon, the television show, not the game, Team Rocket beat Ash in a fight
Oh my
for
goodness
the
gracious.
first time in 20 years. Can you imagine? It was a little. They didn't get away with the Pikachu.
Nope.
They didn't get away with Pikachu, so that's okay. But when I read that, a little piece of my childhood died. Pikachu's supposed to be unbeatable, and he got beat by this stupid meanie that fell in love with James's hair. Anyway, what was your big show? I keep looking at your face in the screen and not at the actual webcam. I apologize. What was your big anime growing up? Everybody had one.
Let me think. I'm pretty sure it was Pokemon as well, but
Have you kept up in the Aloha? No.
no, I
Or
have
Alola?
not. I definitely I watched a lot of Toonami. Do you remember Toonami?
Yeah.
Yeah, that used to be on Cartoon Network. I watched a lot of Toonami, so but I never had cable growing up or all throughout
Ooh.
my life. I still even now don't even have cable, so I didn't get to watch it very often, but I watched primarily the Pokemon series and then the Dragon Ball Z every once in a while, and a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh every once in a while, and
Right.
yeah. But
Okay. Well,
definitely Pokemon. I remember when the first movie came out, and my older brother's friend took all of us to go see it in the theaters, and I was just so excited. I was the most excited 9-year-old person ever.
every now and then when people are arguing about politics or racism or gender equality or all these type of things, I like to throw out that Mewtwo quote from the end of the Pokemon movie where it's oh, it's not that you were made a certain way, it's what you know what, I almost got to look that quote up right now while we're doing this.
Yeah. I have no idea what one you're talking
Oh,
about.
it's super like you throw it out there and people are like, oh, was that like Che Guevara who said that? And you're like, no, it was fucking Mewtwo, man.
Oh, wait, no. Why, for some reason, I thought you said Meowth, and I was like, what are you talking about? I think I remember exactly what you're talking about, but I
It
have no idea what the
is.
quote is. Oh my god, I
Okay, hold
remember.
on. Yeah. So okay, I found it.
We also have Hey There Karma speaking to us in chat.
Oh, perfect.
How you doing, buddy? Hopefully well.
Got my Wing Dragon of Ray. Abused the shit out of that. Being bang and
Oh,
summon Wing
Gundam.
Dragon of Ra. Nice. Oh, Gundam Wing was huge.
Sorry.
I was lucky enough that my brother was like 3 years older than me and also a huge nerd. And I'm actually trying to get him on board with this. Not to be on the show, but like to be a source of news because everything like the minute he comes out, he's like, oh hey, check out this new trailer. Check out this thing about the new Nintendo Wii that's coming out. Anyway, the quote is so again. This is Mewtwo. I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are. So you put that out on social media, and people are like, "Man, that is so deep." And then everyone has like a big discussion about it, and then you're like, "Well, that's Mewtwo, bitch." Like,
That's a fucking Pokemon.
yeah. Code Gas Season 3 coming out, everybody. Ouch. I have no idea what any of that means.
Yeah,
I assume that's an anime as well. Yeah, I was gonna show you. I'm literally wearing a Dragon Ball Z shirt right now. I got it for Christmas. My brother got it from me at London Comic Con. You can't see it in the podcast, obviously, but it was my favorite. My folks got me a set of Beats by Dre headphones, which
that's
is like
awesome.
super expensive. I was so excited about this shirt. On the back is like the actual like Kami house. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh,
Yeah, man, I was so excited. Best Christmas gift I've ever gotten, right? Little kid open up an N64. No, man, Dragon Ball Z T-shirt. It is the way to go.
hell yeah.
So we moving along. You're gonna kind of. I'm gonna kind of take over this section, I guess, because you're gonna be mostly talking about Resident Evil because I haven't played it, haven't seen the movie. So this is gonna be an exploratory podcast today. So we will be talking about Resident Evil 7. And also the new Resident Evil Last Chapter, I think it's called.
Final chapter.
The final chapter?
But same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
Same thing.
But we're going to get that on the go shortly. But first, I want to talk about Avengers, the new Avengers game that's coming
Now wait,
out.
before you get into this,
Sure.
because I know nothing about it. I was actually we were watching something the other day, and then like this little ad came up that was like the Avengers logo, and we're like, what is that? And then it was just like it was a teaser trailer. It
Yes.
wasn't. It didn't reveal anything in the game, and we were like, oh my god, is this a game? Like, what
It
is
is.
this?
And
And it's just ironic that like you bring that up today because that literally happened like yesterday or
Well,
the day before.
yeah, it was only announced the other day, and people are kind of criticizing it for. Well, I'll explain what it is first. So Marvel launched a partnership with Square Enix. So everyone knows Square Enix, obviously, Final Fantasy, right? You think Square, immediately, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 6. Those are the things that come to your mind, right? And people that are thinking, they don't want that out of a Marvel game or an Avengers game. But the thing that I like to point out is that Square has done so much more than that. Like I've got a list here of some of the different games that they do. Well, Kingdom Hearts, obviously. So not a, the Kingdom Hearts gameplay is very Avenger-y, I guess, in a way. They did all the new Tomb Raider games. They did Star Ocean. They did Hitman. They did Deus Ex. So like there are so many games out there that Square Enix have made that would fit a superhero style playthrough. And
Yep.
People just see things. They don't look into stuff. This is something I'm fighting with in every aspect of my life lately. Nobody reads in. But yeah, so I'm super excited about that. And the trailer that you mentioned is, I think it opens up and it's like you see all these like little aspects. You see like Thor's hammer on the ground.
Yeah, and like
and
rubble or something.
yeah. So it's called the Avengers Project, I think is the name of the partnership. I'm fairly certain the first game is called. Oh no, sorry. The Avengers Project is the name of the game, but the tagline is Avengers Reassembled.
Yes,
So,
yes, it is.
yeah, for me, again, huge comic book fan, huge comic book movie fan, especially Marvel. Although DC animated films are way better than the Marvel ones. But I think that the Marvel MCU is doing a little bit better of a job. We're going to get some hate probably for that. But as somebody who is a huge comic book fan, you start like immediately. You're going, oh, like what is in the comic books? Like what happened? What is, trying to think of comic book storylines that could have resulted in this, or the ones that they're trying to adapt. But they've come out and they've said that they've hired on writers, and it's going to be a completely new story. So we're getting something that is absolutely fresh from Marvel, and also hopefully very fresh and new and well done by Square Enix as well. And I don't know. I would say when that movie comes, or when that game comes out, and it's going to be a series of games, you're going to see me streaming them.
Why do you say that it's going to be a series of games?
Oh, because they haven't announced that.
They have? Okay.
Yeah. It's a long-term partnership. So maybe we should be doing some references in the show notes so people can go and do a little bit of research on their own. But basically, so it's. Again, I think the Avengers Reassemble thing, you're probably not going to play in my head now, seeing what I've seen, right, and reading what I read. I think you're probably going to create a superhero, and the storyline is probably going to go through multiple games where you're trying to bring the Avengers back together, right? So just like the movies, there might be a Captain America style game, and there might be a Thor game, and there might be a Spider-Man game. But I don't know if they would do that.
That seems like a really, really unique idea, though, for a superhero-esque game to me.
Yeah, because
it doesn't seem like that's really been done before, but it also seems like it would be something very engaging for someone like, for me, for example. I don't really care for the whole Marvel DC universe, but that sounds like a very interesting game to me.
Well, exactly. So X-Men Legends came out in 2005, and I played the hell out of that game. And in that game, you kind of had a team of 4 that you were always running around, and based on any number of Marvel characters. So X-Men Legends and X-Men Legends 2: Rise of Apocalypse, and it was kind of like top down. You controlled 4 people all at once, and to me, like that game, I remember my buddy was in college. We used to go over to his dorm room, and we would just play like for days. Because it's so cool, you get to play as Spider-Man, you get to play as Deadpool, you get to play as Hulk, you get to play as Thor, you get to play like whoever you wanted, right? And you would play, and then all of those characters could level up. You could be Wolverine, you could be Captain America, you could be lots of like obscure people. I think Sentry was in it, or Centurion at one point. But like some really obscure, well, not that obscure, but if you're not a fan, pretty obscure characters were in it as well. So that's what I'm hoping to get out of this line of games. But we won't know until we know. So far the teaser looks sick. So
yeah, it's very mysterious too. Like you have no idea what's going on or what they're like alluding to, unless like what you said, you actually take the time to go through and like research what it's about and everything. But
yeah, and the thing is, like, it's all speculation at this point. It doesn't matter what we speculate, because they're all original storylines. So it could be anything. The game could be anything. Actually, I might as well flick over here. So we got some pictures that are coming up here now. So the game could be anything. The storyline could be anything. All we know at this point is that the Avengers are down. We got to get them back. And to me, that's exciting. Right?
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Any other news that you know about?
Not really. Nope.
No?
Well, actually, and this might be for like a good idea for, another segment, another time, but I watched a video recently about the like top 10 most anticipated games that are coming soon in the next years, whenever, and for one of them, it's this new game called Dark Stranding, which Guillermo del Toro is a writer on.
Ooh, really?
And I am super excited for it.
No,
but that's
I like
not
that.
for that's not for probably like 2 or 3 more years. So maybe that's another time we'll talk about that. But lots of new games coming out this year.
Right. But I mean, that is part of it as well. Like that's part of what we want to do. Like we want to talk about news every week. So this game was announced, this development is happening. I want to talk about all that stuff. I'm actually looking down through the Marvel Square just image page, right, on Google, and the hashtag Reassemble is there, so it's obviously going to revolve around that. But there's a picture, and oh man, I love it. it's Iron Man's hand, but it looks like a really like an older prototype of the Iron Man suit, and it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like the power is like flickering in it. So I don't know if we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna get in like right at a battle where everybody dies or something like that. It's gonna be so far away that there's really no way to know. Anyway, damn, the weight kills me on these
See, but
things.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that idea, though, that, like, for example, it's the same thing with this Avengers game. It's the same thing with this Dark Stranding game that I'm anticipating. It's just like you get like the tiniest little taste of what it's going to be like, and if there's something there that piques your interest, you're just like dying to figure out like everything there is to figure out about it.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
right.
it's like they don't even need to do anything to create some kind of hype for it. It's all of us like creating our own hype based on what we want to see
Yeah,
come
you're
out of the game. You know what I'm saying?
you're exactly right.
Yeah.
But you get burned sometimes. Did you ever play Eve or Dust 514?
No, I have not.
Okay, so there's a Icelandic company. Geez, I can't remember what they're called now. But basically, they put out this game. It's online. It's an MMO. It's a single server MMO,
Hmm.
of like space setting. You build your ship. You build everything. You work for corporations. You make money. All this stuff, and it is massive. It's
Mm.
there's if you Google it, it was years ago. There was a fight between these two corporations, which were like the guilds, right? So you play WoW, you know what it's like. Uh,
Mhm.
so there was this massive fight that was like months and months and months in the making, where it was hundreds of people on each side got in this massive space war, and people lost thousands and thousands of real life dollars because it kind of had like a pay to win sort of thing,
Oh my gosh.
and it had a real economy. So
Yeah.
in World of Warcraft, you kill a thing, you skin it, you get some leather, right? That leather
Yep.
appeared out of nowhere, right?
Mhm.
In Eve, you had to go to an asteroid and mine it, and that asteroid is gone forever once it's gone. So there was a finite number of resources. So
Huh.
if you work up, you build your ship, you had to earn it, and it takes a long time. And then if somebody destroyed your ship, you lost it. So basically, these corporations were people in real life who were paying other people to build ships
Yeah.
and build warships and space stations.
So they
And
kind of had like ships and stuff on reserve, or like.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly,
okay.
right?
I see what you're
And
saying.
you were buying stuff off people, and it was pay to win because it's a real economy. So you could message somebody. It's not like WoW where you say like, oh yeah, no, I'll give you so much money for so much gold, but you could just wait and get that gold anyway. You could actually say like, okay, this ship that you built. It only one exists in the entire
Mhm.
universe of EVE Online. I will buy it from you in real life money, right?
Mhm.
Like it was crazy, and this war thousands and thousands of dollars were lost by regular people who had been
That's
playing games for
insane.
years.
So it was kind of like a game that not revolved around, but like incorporated almost a digital currency. Like, because
Yeah.
if you think about it, like those mines on that asteroid somewhere like that, it could be like a digital currency to some people.
Oh,
Just,
exactly. They had value because
oh yeah,
it's the same as us in real life. Our value is based on the time that we spend creating a product,
that
right?
is
So
insane.
yeah, so it was a real world economy. Anyway, so this game was huge,
Mhm.
and I did not have the patience to get into it, right? But the same company was putting out a cross-platform game called Dust 514, and on Dust 514, it had basically the same real-world economy, but it was an FPS. So you were on the
Aha.
ground in the planets in the Eve world, even to the point where if you were playing Eve, you could do like a bombardment of the planet in Eve,
Oh shit.
and in Dust, that would happen while you're fighting, and there's a nuclear strike happening from space because some guy in your corporation attacked.
Oh my god.
It was 3 years, I think. Me and Dog were super pumped, and oh man, this game's so good. Every news article that came out, everything, and this was a while ago. So like, we weren't on Reddit and Twitter and YouTube and all this stuff. And then it came out, and I almost bought a PS4 just to play it. He got it, and we started playing it, and we were just like, this is just the same. It was just the same deathmatch over and over and over again on
Oh
like
my god.
3 different maps, and it was so pay to win. Like the first day, you got a pile of rich kids, in like Saudi Arabia who just buy everything, and then you're trying to fight them, and they just, oh, I've got a pistol and you got a rocket launcher, right? Like, it's so
Yeah.
annoying. So the hype train is good, especially in the fact that we are kind of in this society where the gaming society right now, where like early access
Oh yeah,
is a big thing, right? Like you need that hype,
definitely.
but also,
It could be something completely different.
yeah, you could get your hopes crushed and your dreams shattered. But
Well,
you know,
I'd like to believe that, my hopes are what's going to happen, even as naive as that is.
that's okay. Um,
Anyways.
I do have one part of bad news.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, John Hurt died yesterday.
Oh, no, I know. I saw that.
Yeah, so
Very sad.
yeah, he was a great actor, great man.
Hmm.
Um, but a lot of people probably don't know him who are listening to a gaming podcast. He was Dumbledore in the first movie, wasn't he? Wasn't John Hurt Dumbledore at one point?
I don't know.
I
No, 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 no. Because the Dumbledore in the first movie died. That's why they got
Oh, right. Okay, I'm wrong.
the
No.
other guy in like the third movie or something like that.
Harry
Let's
Potter
see.
goes.
Oh no, you're right. He was the new Dumbledore.
Oh, yeah, so he was Dumbledore. John Hurt was Dumbledore. Was he
Wait a
really?
sec. Wait.
No, hold on. Wow.
I'm not a huge like Harry Potter nerd, so I don't necessarily know. Oh my God, he was in Doctor Who.
Yeah, well, that's why I was going to bring it up, because he was
Oh, sorry.
he
Sorry.
was the War Doctor. So he was the hidden eighth Doctor, or
Ah,
the seventh Doctor, something like that. But basically, he was like locked away from the Doctor's psyche, so you
yes.
couldn't see him.
He was Ollivander. He was the guy that sold him the wands. Sorry, I'm on IMDb
Oh,
right
there you go. Yeah. I'm looking at his roles. But I mean, he was everything. He was the
now.
Elephant
Yeah.
Man. He was the Prime Minister. I guess he wasn't the Prime Minister, but V for Vendetta.
Mhm.
He was in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Let's take a couple more that some nerds might know. He was in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, I never
uh,
saw that.
oh yeah, he was in the new Hercules movie with The Rock.
Oh gosh, that movie.
Oh yeah, it's not good, but
Oh no, it was not
okay.
good.
So he was in 1984, of course, which is very relevant for today's society with Trump.
Mm.
What else nerdy was he in?
He was in the first Alien as Kane.
Yes, he was in the first Alien. This guy's done everything.
Oh my God. Oh wait, never mind. Sorry.
You got really excited there for
I
something there.
did, I did, because it says I'm on his IMDb right now, and it says that he was in Lord of the Rings as Aragorn, and then I was like, wait a second. Aragorn is a spider in Harry Potter, but this is from the Lord of the Rings animated film from 1978, so
There
I'm
you
not
go.
understanding. So
Okay,
I
well,
got really
John.
excited.
Yeah, so John Hurt was the voice of Aragorn. So yeah, this is he was in Frankenstein Unbound. Man, he was in. You
He
know,
had quite a career, definitely quite a career, for
yeah, a
sure.
lot of it is trash. But I
Yeah,
mean, like, obviously he was a great stage actor,
definitely.
and I feel like even like the best actors of our time, if you went back and looked at every movie they made, how do you know? How do you know what's good? How do you know what's bad? Especially,
Yeah.
I mean, today it's even worse because think about like in a Star Wars movie, you've got a couple of people waving around a green stick in a green room on green
Mhm.
furniture
Mhm.
with a dude in a green suit and you're talking to a ping pong ball. Like, how do you how do you really know if the movie is going to be good until after it comes out? The actors have
Exactly.
nothing to do with if a movie's good or not. Well, maybe not nothing,
Exactly.
but editing,
Well,
directors,
they
cinematography.
definitely do have like a because to me, a movie can be a great movie, but the acting can be terrible, but you can
That
still
is
think
true.
it's a good movie, or it could be vice versa, where like the acting is fantastic, but like the CGI and the editing and everything is terrible, but you
That's
still
true.
think it's a good movie because of the actors. So I really feel like they're kind of separated in that way that like they're whereas probably back when like John Hurt was in his heyday in like the 70s or the 80s or whenever, there was more of a seamless connection between, because there wasn't really that much CGI or
Yeah, that's
green
right. You kind of
screen or
what you got,
like
what you
that.
got.
So
You got
you
what was
kind of
done.
had to like work with what you had in the environment that you had, and you couldn't rely on someone to just edit something out real quick.
That's true. There was a really famous. If we're talking about CGI, maybe we could do a full episode on this. But there's
Hey, that's an idea. I like that idea a lot.
obviously the the feather from this is notorious. The feather from Tom Hanks' Forrest Gump won an Oscar for best CGI.
Yeah.
And that year, I should just Google this right now. Forrest Gump. That came out in 1994, right?
I have no idea.
Well, no, it did because I'm Googling it right now.
Oh,
And
okay.
there's another movie that came out. Okay, so we're talking best CGI. These are movies that came out in 1994. So the best CGI award went to That Feather. Lion King. So not CGI, but there was CGI in that movie. The Mask.
The
Yeah.
Mask. Yeah, The Mask got really good CGI work
Great
too.
CGI for the time. Stargate. Wes Craven's New Nightmare came out. Maybe not so much CGI. Ace Ventura came out the same year as The Mask. Wow, what a big year for that guy. Jesus, what is his name?
Freddy Krueger.
No, Ace Ventura. Jim Carrey.
Oh, Jim
I kept
Carrey.
thinking
Sorry,
Weird Al.
I
I was like,
was watching the stream and your scroll was right over Wes Craven's
oh,
Nightmare.
no. But yeah, like Frankenstein came out. That had good CGI in it, but certainly better than that flower or the feather. And then there's the notorious CGI too. You know what? We'll do a whole episode on good. We'll do good CGI in bad movies and
I'm
bad
sorry.
CGI
We
in
also
good
have
movies.
to. We also have to have an honorable mention to the Scorpion King CGI.
Yeah.
Like, let's get real. Who could forget
That is
seeing that
true.
for the first time and being like, "Oh my God, Rock is a scorpion. This is insane."
I remember the first time I ever saw a 3D movie. So like blue lens, red lens, right? It's 3D movie, and they were showing a Freddy Krueger movie, and my dad took me to see it, and it was like it wasn't when it first came out, but there was this old theater where I lived. They used to like do movies like that. So like on Halloween they might do a marathon. They'd show like 5 horror movies that weren't new. They were like older movies.
Older.
And yeah, you'd always get a crowd. And there's this part where she puts a bomb inside, like she puts on his glove and like cuts him open and puts a bomb inside of his body, and when he blows up, all of his like demons go like woo, and they're like coming at the screen, and you're like, this is so bad. But my dad had never been to a 3D movie before, I guess, or like he's used to watching 2D movies. He was like he was blown right away that that could even happen, right?
Yeah. Pretty
Okay,
crazy.
gonna get into our. Oh no, hold on, I do have one more little story to tell. Man, I could talk for days.
I know, it's easy, right?
Yeah, I told you. Everybody's like, oh yeah, like 30 minutes. Let's aim for 30 minutes. It's like we'll get nothing done in 30 minutes. Like 30 minutes is just a conversation
Yeah.
about us, right? So
Not even. It's a conversation about like one thing. That's what that is.
yeah. So talking about John Hurt and older fellas. So John Hurt was 77 when he died. I go to the gym every day, right? That's a lie. I didn't go today. I go to the gym almost every day. And almost every day, there is this new, not super new, but like probably 2012, black Mustang GT parked in a handicap spot. Right next to the door. And every day, like a little piece of me gets madder and madder because I'm like, why is this guy parked in a fucking like what a prick? Because what it looks like is douchebag with a sports car parked in a handicap spot.
Because he can't be bothered to go to like another open spot.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, it's a bigger spot, and he doesn't want
Yeah.
somebody to scratch his car. Like you see, like guys in new trucks who park like in between two things because like they don't want somebody to scratch their car with the door, so they take up like 4 parking spots, or like a sports car. Like they're notorious for it. So anyway, coming out of the gym one day, this Mustang pulls in, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm not like that, but I'm doing it. I'm gonna give this guy
a hard
piece
time.
of my mind. Hey, buddy, why are you parking in a handicap spot, driving around a sports car like some sort of idiot? Hey, pal, friend, dude. Opens the door, out walks the oldest man I've ever seen in my life. This guy was older than Jesus. I swear to God. He was probably in the 70s, but in my mind, he was 110.
Oh my God.
Right? So he like roasts in this Mustang in the handicap spot. And I look, and he's got the tag, right? Like he's got the
little sticker or
Yeah,
the
the
yeah.
sticker in his thing, and I'm like, holy shit! And he can barely walk. I was like, well, yeah, I guess if you have to walk that slow, you want a fast car, right?
Yeah, very good point.
Yeah,
Very good
so
point.
immediately forgave him. I was like, oh man, I feel so bad. Like this cute old man walking around, getting his little Mustang. Jealous, obviously. Uh, that's fine. He must live down the street from me because I see him all the time.
Mm.
And the other day, we were at the. Now it's winter here. There's not a lot of snow where I currently live right now, but there is. Like I've got studded tires on my car, and I was at the stoplight, and I look over, and here's old man Mustang.
Oh, did you wave?
Right? Yeah, I waved. I was like, oh hey, like lifted my gym bag. Right? I'm like, oh hey, we're going to the gym. Right? And he kind of looks at me, and the light turns green, and he just fucking roasts this car. Like,
No way.
yeah, like roasts the tires and fucks off down the road. I'm like,
Oh my
man,
God.
that man is who I want to grow up to be.
Same. That's
Right?
awesome.
What a cool old dude. So there you go. You can get older. You just stay cool. Just stay a
and
geek.
and just still stay awesome.
Yeah. All right, so on
Oh my.
to the main event, I guess. Main topic.
Is that
Yeah,
me? Is that
Resident
okay?
Evil, right?
All
We're gonna be
right.
talking about
Yeah.
game and movie.
So pretty much, I I really love horror movies, I should say. It's my favorite genre of movies, and
Right.
I've heard about the Resident Evil movies, and I love the Silent Hill movie series and game series and everything like that. And there's this huge hype about this new Resident Evil game, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna play it, and it's gonna
Of
be
course.
so much fun. And I bought it, and I've never played like a survival horror movie game or any kind of Resident Evil game before, so I didn't really know what I was like getting myself into, but
You've
I
never
knew
played a
like
Resident Evil game before?
I have not.
Oh my
Never.
god.
Nope,
I
never.
was looking at something on the stream and I didn't really hear that, but then when it clicked, wow, that floors me. You've never
Yeah.
played? Oh wow, we gotta have a discussion about this. You know,
Well, I mean, growing up I never had a PlayStation, and my older brother had an Xbox 360 that like, and he rarely ever let me use it. So I never
right.
really like I honestly grew up on like a Sega Genesis and an N64 till I was like in college, and then I was like, okay, now I can start playing like other games or
Wow.
other systems.
I
Yeah.
remember circle back to Pokemon. I'm talking about like older brothers. Like I said, my brother's 3 years older than me, so he could introduce me to a lot of cool stuff when I was
Mhm.
very young. He had a Game Boy Color and he had Pokemon Blue. I
Hell
didn't,
yeah.
right?
That's my shit. That's what I have.
Yeah. So I didn't have a Game Boy yet. I did get one fairly soon after Christmas. I remember I got Kirby's Dream Land 2. Rocked the shit
Hell
out of that
yeah.
game for years. But yeah, so my brother had Pokemon Blue, and in Pokemon, if you go to change a box, it automatically saves. So like you can have one
Mhm.
save file, and you can have 26 Pokemon, or
Mhm.
you have to save over that save file basically. I beat the Elite Four in one go, right? Game Boy plugged into the wall, uh, with only 26 Pokemon, which means basically I had like a level 70 like Rattack and a Nidoran male and a Butterfree and like
So all
probably
those like early stage
yeah,
like
like you just catch them and
yeah.
then you can't like go get that legendary Pokemon, but I already got 26, so there's nothing I could do about it because I don't think you could actually like let your Pokemon go back then like you can now. So I had like a Charmander and a Rattata and a Pidgeot and like it's like a basically all normal type Pokemon. It was the most boring game. And I remember my brother walked in like 15 hours after I started playing it. He's like, "Are you still playing that?" I was like, "Yes. I want to stop, but I can't. So I'll lose everything."
Oh,
I know.
so ridiculous.
Okay, sorry. So
No, it's
horror
okay.
games. First time you ever
But
played.
anyways, so I bought this game, after seeing the trailers, seeing, a couple people play like the early release demo, and I was like, fuck it, I'm buying this game and I'm gonna play it, and I'm like super, super excited to play. Well, I get it and I start playing it, and I am just like absolutely terrified. Like, it is terrifying to play because I'm sure, as everybody else knows, is that like when you play a game, you're pretty immersed into it. So like imagine it literally feels like you're inside a horror movie. It's like, but you have control over what it is. So it's like you're terrified when you're playing it, but then, but like the next day I'd go to work or something, and I'd be thinking like at work, I'm like, oh my God, I want to play that game. I want to play that game. Like, I got to get back home. I got to play that game more. So like, I'm sure everybody knows already that it's, ridiculously fun, and it's just like draws you back every single time. But so because of this podcast, I wanted to like read more a little bit about like the background and the history of, this game pretty much. And pretty much found out that this is the first installment they've ever done of like a first person type game.
Yeah, it's a little different, is my impression.
Yeah, what I thought, and I thought that was interesting because given that it's part of a series, you'd think that they'd want to stick with like what they know works.
Right.
But they decided to take it in a completely different direction and just go with like first person, which makes it that much more terrifying. Also, another thing that I thought was like super ridiculously cool is that over half of the assets in the game, so an asset being like a table or like a wall or
Yep.
whatever, over half of those were used or were created using photogrammetry. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but pretty much what that is they would photograph like 360 photograph of an object or a thing, and then they use that those photographs to create the 3D model of it. So everything is incredibly realistic in terms of the scale of things. Like the chairs are properly scaled to Ethan's height, and like the
and they have like those little imperfections and details that you would get in real life that you wouldn't normally get in a game.
Exactly. So I thought that was really cool. So they've been working on this game forever, like literally forever. And a lot of people are actually like, after they've played the game and everything or watch other people play the game, they say that it's got a very similar feel to the Silent Hill PT demo. I don't know if you know what that is, but it was pretty much just like this it was like an interactive demo that you could do where you're pretty much just walking in a circle, but you have to like do puzzles in order to like advance yourself. But it was like ridiculously scary. Like if you ever have a chance and like want to scare the shit out of yourself, just Google like Silent Hill PT demo. And the thing with that is that they never ended up finishing that demo or like releasing a game that was whatever or like related to it.
Right.
So everyone's like, they just got the ideas and like the feel, the atmosphere from the PT demo, but then the
demo never got anywhere. So
but the people at Capcom came out and they're like, no, we've been working on this forever, like way before the PT even came out. So we're the OG in like creating this atmosphere. That's pretty much what they did. And I didn't know that because I saw the PT demo before I saw anything on RE7 and was like, it's very similar in terms of like atmosphere. One more thing before I like move on to the movie, I guess, is, and this just blows my mind so much. So as everyone knows, RE7 is available on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, but you can also get it on the PlayStation VR system as well, which why anyone would do that.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you because I actually got a trailer up here for the for the stream, and it says Resident Evil 7 trailer VR game.
Yes.
And
the VR. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Well, pretty much for the VR, besides having like your whole face ingrained in this, for pre-release, you could pre-order a candle, and what the candle does is that it sits next to you and it burns. But when you have the VR head system on, it tricks your olfactory senses.
Fuck that.
Smelling different things based on where you are in the game. So, for example, like say you're, in the basement where it's all like squishy and gooey and everything, your brain is going to smell something different from that candle based on what you're seeing through the VR. And then, like, say you go up to the attic, like, you're going to smell something completely different, even though the candle is the same candle. And it doesn't work when you're not using the VR system. So it's like, if you really want to just pretend that you're in the game, like, you can get the candle and the VR system. And, like, I don't know how anyone would survive playing that. But that, to me, was, like, the most insane thing that I ever heard about this game, was that you can buy this stupid candle that like really puts you into the game.
Right. So this is just a couple of points. Resident Evil 7, they reworked it because Resident Evil 6 shit the bed. It posted way less numbers than they thought it would do. And
really?
Yeah, Capcom they did have profits that year, actually, like pretty good profits, but they had expected much more out of Resident Evil 6 than it got. So I think kind of the idea was partially maybe return to form is in like kind of the horror thriller genre, but also
Hmm.
maybe like, okay, well, we have to bring this into the new generation of these types of games. Like we can't keep doing. We want to make it feel like an old game, but we got to make it play like a new one, right?
Hmm.
So, like you said, some of the things that they brought in were absolutely amazing. And I haven't played it yet. I've only read it. I watched your stream when you played it, and I remember because I'd be sitting there and I kind of had your stream here, and I was doing something here, and then all of a sudden it'd be like, ah! I'd be like, gee, whoa, like what happened? And it was you
Yeah, that
screaming in
happens a
my head
lot.
because there was some sort of jump scare or something, right? But
I swear to God, I think my neighbors think I'm getting murdered. Like they're probably gonna call the cops on me at some point in time.
well, and it's so much better like with the headset too, right? Like
Oh yeah.
you are immersed like in the dark, play it. Like I've wanted to do so many horror games, but I need a night
Well,
camera, right? So
in all reality though, like when I play, the visuals in and of itself are terrifying. I get that, but like, and not to sound like one of those people, but like because I've seen so many horror movies and like I like that aspect of it.
right.
It's the visuals alone don't necessarily scare me. It's the fucking headset, because you'll like hear these like little things that you don't necessarily hear on like a TV because you're not like
Well, it's not right up, and it's not like oh I can hear it over there because of stereo
ah
sound, right? That you
it's
don't really
it's
get.
the sound design in this game is absolutely ridiculous. I can't really compare it to any other horror survival game, but like this one in and of itself is it's absolutely terrifying.
Right. Uh, so one of the things that I think companies are going to get very, very good at very, very easily is manipulating the virtual reality
Oh yeah.
world. Because
Yep.
for me, that's terrifying. For every video, and not even just for a horror game, I think it's terrifying anyway. Every video that you see where a guy's on a roller coaster and he's standing up and he fucking and he just falls down because like your brain literally cannot comprehend why it is that you can hear and see and look around and like really see the environment that you're in, yet your feet and your hands and your body don't feel that environment. Like
Mhm.
our brains are extremely complex, but they're very easy to fool. Like marketers do it all the time. Blizzard did it with World of Warcraft. Like there are things in World of Warcraft that if you go to a casino, you can make that connection to, oh, this gambling thing. That's I feel the same way when I gamble as when I level up in World of Warcraft. Like
Mhm.
those sorts of addictions have been in video games for a long time. Candy Crush, same way. Like
Yeah.
Candy Crush is the biggest game in the world right now. People still hate it, but I don't know about right now, but it was, and that is because they have these little tiny little bursts of endorphins all the time. So game
Well,
companies know how to manipulate this stuff, and marketing companies do too. And once
oh
you get
yeah.
into the VR side of it as well, I have no idea what that'll mean for gaming. Like, don't get me wrong, I can't wait until I can get like a real first-person shooter VR thing. But I wonder if it's gonna. Some people get too immersed in the game worlds anyway, and I
Oh
wonder
yeah.
if it's gonna be a detriment to those people who maybe might be more easily tricked
Two
as well,
things
right?
two things to go off of that exact point. I wish I could remember what the name of the company was called. But I heard about this. They call it a 4D candle, is what they call this
Okay.
RE7 candle. Um, I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. So I was trying to like figure out like what the hell it meant, and pretty much breadcrumb trail down to this company that makes these. They're like these little pack things that sit under the legs of your couch, and what it does is it syncs with a program that will play certain movies, and pretty much
Okay. So
like
it kind
take for example, like you're watching Indiana Jones or something, like the scene where like the ground shakes and everything like
of.
falls apart. Those little things under your couch will start to rumble, and
Right.
you know what I'm saying, and like they're so people are continually finding more and more ways to immerse you in whatever it is that you're
Yeah.
trying to do. So now with that being said though, like I can only imagine, like for me, I am like one of the most easiest people to scare in the world. Like when I'm streaming and someone follows me and like my little cat noise meows, that scares me, and it's a cat meow.
That's funny
So
because ours is a dog, like a woof. Huh?
so pretty much like I imagine myself if I had that VR headset on with the candle, and I was, doing whatever in Resident Evil 7, I would probably have a heart attack, or like I would start sweating profusely, or like pee my pants, or like something would happen to me physically because of that VR experience.
Well,
And that to me is just like absolutely insane that something like that could happen. Like, what if someone has a heart attack and like actually like has serious problems because of this intensely realistic immersion?
Well, that's the
insane to
thing,
me.
right? And I mean, I'm sure everything is going to have a warning. If you are likely to have a seizure, if you are likely to, you know,
If you're pregnant,
if you're pregnant,
you
if you're
know,
stressed,
yeah,
don't have anything around you that is, breakable, or make sure that you're in a secure room, something like that. Like you put on the VR headset, you've got the eyes of, like, somebody could just come into your house too. Like, what are you gonna do? Every time you want a game, you gotta lock all the doors, close the
yeah.
windows, put your phone in vibrate on your pocket just in case somebody's trying to get a hold of you. But on top of that, like, think about, remember when the Wii U came out, and they've got the little bracelet and you put it on and you use the wand, but the Wiimote. But how many videos on the internet were of people just like whipping the thing through their TV? Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody did. Like, everybody
Oh, yeah.
had a Wiimote accident in their house, even though there's the warnings and the labels and all that stuff. So I don't know where VR is going to take people like that, but I brought up Engadget.com and just going to read a little thing here. This is about the. Okay, so the title is "Nothing Immerses You in Resident Evil 7 Like a 4D Candle.
Yep.
Make your living room smell like the Baker House mansion for a full VR experience." So would this work if you were not in the VR experience? So like you're just playing at home?
Mm-hmm.
Or you could still have the can.
No. I mean, you could get the candle, but the reason why it tricks you is because it tricks one sense, meaning your vision, by
Right.
putting the headset or whatever.
Yeah, because that's kind of the only thing left.
So
right?
it's tricking your vision. It's tricking your hearing because of assuming you're having a headset on.
Yeah.
It's also tricking your touch sense because you have the things in your hand, and
Right.
I've never used them, but I assume that like if you punch something it'll vibrate, or regardless, like,
Yeah, there's be some sort of feedback.
exactly. So it's tricking 3 of your senses already. And you know how sometimes like you'll smell something and you'll smell it a certain way based on something that someone describes it as?
Yeah.
You smell it. You know what I'm saying? It's a similar type of thing. So it's tricking 4 out of the 7 senses, and probably actually because you're smelling something, you might even be able to taste it in a certain degree.
Well,
you know
I mean,
what I'm
everybody
saying?
knows like your smell is so strongly tied to emotion and memory.
Exactly.
And this is gonna sound weird. I can smell chocolate chip cookies every time I think about my buddy's house. His dad would bake. I remember he lived in this tiny little house, and his folks were divorced, and we would go over there, and his dad was always cooking. And we played a lot of games, like on little tiny 13-inch TV. His dad didn't have 2 cents to rub together, but the house was always open and always welcome, and like that's sort of like family-oriented sort of thing, right? So, it's just him and my buddy lived there. I'd go there. They would live close to my house. Always. So the couch is here, the TV's there, the table is right there, right? So like there's nothing to separate anything. And he would bake cookies and cook all these meals and stuff like that. And all the time when I think back to those times, I can smell him baking all the time. So now to put this in, so I just want to read out real quick. So 4D experiences are typically only found in theme parks and fancy theaters, but you'll soon be able to trick your senses at home with the launch of official Resident Evil 4D candle. Yes, a candle. Created by Capcom and merchandise merchant Numskull, it's intended to make playing Resident Evil 7 Biohazard on PlayStation VR even more immersive by filling your den with the scent of the gamer's Baker House mansion, which, given its abandoned house, should probably smell like damp and old socks. Pre-order it, so it's $14. That's actually pretty good, but you got to wonder how many candles you need to buy.
Well, if you read down at the bottom, because I actually saw that article, it says that it burns for 25 hours, which is more than enough time to clear the game.
Oh, yeah? Okay, so that's... There's some smelly wax left over when you're done. Probably not to use it to compliment a relaxing bath or a late romantic dinner. That is crazy. I've never heard of that before. I'm so glad that you brought it up.
Yeah, I've never heard of it being brought to like an at-home controlled experience before. Like I never thought I would live in the day where like you would be able to experience something like this in your house.
Well,
like,
not only that, like, because why would you want this? Why would you think it up?
I could not agree with you more.
Who's sitting? I mean, I'd love to try it. I'll do it. Like, if somebody had it, let's go. I'd pay $14 for that candle and sit down for 25 hours to play this game. Of course I would. I'd put it on a stream and I'd have a fucking riot. But, like, who sits back and goes, well, okay, well, there's VR. How do we really get the next step, right? And some companies are going, okay, well, we'll build a giant treadmill that you have to walk on when you're going, and you can turn and all this stuff. And then this company goes, nah, smell. Right? This is smell-o-vision. Right? Like at the most fundamental level, we now have smell-o-vision. That is amazing. And we're using it to scare the poop out of people.
Well, and like, not to turn this into like a societal discussion or anything, but it's like, what is that doing to us as a society? Like,
nothing's real anymore.
Giving us the option to completely remove ourselves from the reality that we're in, to put us in a completely different set of realities in which we control things. And just think about how that is going to affect like the way we react and interact with other people, and like the actual reality of reality.
100%.
Now, I don't want to go in that direction, but I just had to mention that because that's the biggest thing on my mind about whenever anyone says VR. That's the only thing I can think of, is that, like, all right, if we really want to remove ourselves as far as possible from reality, that is the way to go.
Yep. And eventually, I think we will read an article about, a rich billionaire in the States, in Saudi Arabia, in England, somewhere, who has hired staff, and he doesn't need to work, and he has chosen to live in a virtual reality world. And when he has to go eat in the virtual reality world, somebody makes sure there's food in front of him, and he just leaves it on 24/7. He goes to bed, he wakes up in the virtual reality world, and eventually there will be a game like that, but it's not yet. But it's coming, and I think, technology moves at an exponential rate. We're getting real philosophical here, but.
Yeah.
So technology doesn't continue. Like, think about the last 10 years, everything that's changed. Facebook had just come out. 2007, what kind of phone did I have? I had a flip phone because I was in high school, and I only had it. Nobody had a phone yet. I had I graduated with 50 people, so small school. But full-body VR, yeah, exactly. So so I had a flip phone. Nobody else had a phone. I only had it because I had a heart problem, and it was like mandatory. My phone was my freedom. I couldn't go anywhere without it because my mom's super overprotective, and that was like a sacrifice that they were willing to make. But I remember I used to have to text people like on T9 Word or like
T9.
Oh man, or like hit 555-77-333-1 just to try to get to the letters. And now, literally for me to Google search on my phone, I say, "Okay, Google." And now it's listening for me to do something. Like, you don't even need, it's literally like watching me. You don't even need to choose what you're doing anymore. Like, all this technology ramped up so fast. So take all of that's happened in the last 10 years. You have to multiply it by 10 to see what's going to happen in the next 10 years. Like, every year you get more than a year's worth of technology moving forward and moving backwards. Like, it was only 100 years ago the car was invented, and now we've almost got self-driving cars and jets and all this stuff. Anyway, we're getting out of touch, but the people who are building this stuff are the same people who know how to, like I said, World of Warcraft, people who worked on Blizzard, are the same people who are in casinos and know like what sound of lights or what sound and what lights make you want to spend more money. And the people who go in and design bars and say, well, this is the color of light you want to make people drink more. So eventually there's going to be a VR game like this that is not designed to scare you. It's designed to make you want to spend more money. And it'll be a pay-to-win, probably a fantasy game or puzzle game, and people will spend money like it's going out of style. It'll be the biggest game.
Predictions right here by Nacho.
I'm telling you, it is going to happen. In fact, I've just decided I'm starting a video game company. It's going to be VR, and we're going to do puzzle games, and you can play it. You don't have to pay for anything, but if you really want like some extra features, you could pay for it if you want to. We should really get on that.
Hell yeah. Let's patent that idea right now.
Yeah.
Everyone who's in stream, just forget what you just heard.
Yeah. Or jump over to my www.kickstarter.com, right, and you just throw somebody down on that.
Let's get this started. Let's get going.
Yeah, so Resident Evil, though. So we talked about the horror aspect. Have you ever played the game? What is it called? You never, because you said that you didn't play much GameCube or anything like that. The game's called Eternal Darkness.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of Perfect Dark. No.
No. So Eternal Darkness, the tagline was Sanity's Requiem. And this was a horror movie. It's a psychological horror adventure video game.
Mhm.
Developed by Silicon Knights, and it came out in. It was originally planned for N64, so I know it was early 2002. This game was bonkers. So like, you didn't have a life meter; you had a fear meter. So
Oh,
yeah, like
interesting.
as things happened, you'd get more afraid, and it would cause you to hallucinate in the game.
That's like the amnesia games, is it not?
Yeah, but 15 years ago, right?
Oh, yo, yeah.
So what would happen would be some really small stuff, like maybe there's like a noise, and it's like you're playing the game, late at night, lights are off. This is the best way to play it. You can play it in the middle of the day, but it's boring, right? So you're you're listening to it, and there's like a noise, and it's like you're going like that noise is not coming from the game. What is that? Where's that noise coming from? But it is coming from the game. But it was the pitch or the vibrato or whatever it was in the
Yep.
game that made you feel like it was something else.
Not. Yep.
And other little things, and it was the way they played with the light and the backgrounds in the game, and when the hallucinations would happen, like you'd get smaller and smaller and smaller, like very very gradually, until like you just realize all of a sudden you're like a tiny little character on the screen, and you're going, what? How the fuck did that happen? Or flies would like buzz on the screen, but the way they did it, it didn't look like it was part of the game. It looked like it was on the screen, so you'd be like, oh, well, that's
Mhm.
that's not actually in it. So like that was in 2002, and that game
Yeah.
scared the crap out of people. So I can only imagine what they're gonna do moving forward with VR, like horror games, zombie survival games. The options are endless. But
Completely endless. It's ridiculous.
all in all, with Resident Evil, would we got to get a rating system?
We do. Ah, okay. I don't know. I'm just gonna use a normal, like, out of 10 scale. Out of
Sure.
10, I would give it, a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that good, hey?
It is. It really is. And I think the reason why I give it that is because, like I said earlier, it's like, well, while I'm playing it, I get terrified and I'll be like, oh God, I know I have to go into that room, but I don't want to because I'm so scared. But
Right.
then, so I'm terrified while I'm playing it, but like it feels so good to be able to complete a puzzle or do something like right that I'm supposed to do, that when I'm not playing, I'm thinking about it. And I'm not thinking about it in the sense where it's like, oh God, that was such a scary part. I'm like, that was a really cool puzzle and I solved it. I want to solve more puzzles like that. So I want to go
Okay.
home and play more.
So
So
you're
it's
like really eager to get home and play every day.
Oh yeah, it's definitely in the game itself. It doesn't necessarily, like in the beginning, I feel like it kind of did this just a little bit, but now that the beginning's only like the first hour of play,
Right.
It kind of relied on scare, like very cheap shot scares.
Right.
But then after you get past that first like introductory period, it's more puzzles. You have to solve things, you find things, you have no idea what they are, but everything in the game means something, so you have to keep
Okay.
it, but you don't know what it's for. And so it's like, and me, I love puzzle games. I love puzzle games and strategy games. So that is why it just takes it to a whole other level for me, at least. So anyone that's interested in puzzles and any kind of strategy based games is gonna love this game 100%.
Perfect. What does it cost? What does it cost in that game now?
Right now it's $60. Yes, it's $60. You can get it on Steam. You can get it in the stores. I got mine on Steam. But I'm sure.
And that's for every same thing on $60 PC, Xbox. They're all $59.99.
Yep.
Okay, now here's my question. Would you spend the extra $14 for the candle?
No.
No?
No.
Even though now, do you think this is the method of which I measure everything, which drives my friends nuts. Assume your rate of pay, right? Whatever it is, I don't care. For ease of calculation, we'll say $10, right? $10 an hour is minimum wage where I live. Something has to be as fun as the amount of time I have to work to buy it. Subtract my bills, right? So say if you spend half your money on your bills, you take home $5, right? So if I'm gonna play a game that costs $60, I have to get 12 hours worth of fun out of it. Like that's
I
my
see what you're
trade-off.
I see what you're saying.
Right?
Interesting.
So some games like Ark and Skyrim and some Call of Duty games or Battlefield, like I know I can get hundreds of hours of gameplay out of those games. So I'll buy one, might keep me home instead of going out to a movie some night, saving money, right? You go to a movie, you're spending $30 for 2 hours of fun. That's $15 an hour. That's actually a pretty expensive thing to do, is go to a movie.
Yes, it is.
Based on the amount of time that it takes, even though I love movies. But is there any replay value to something like this that relies on scares and puzzles and...
Well, there is, I mean, to an extent, there is a replay value because I will tell you why. There are multiple endings that can happen.
Oh,
So
okay.
when you get to the end of the game, there are multiple endings that can happen based on what you've done, say, in like the first 2 hours of the game. Also, there are two modes. There's an easy mode and then there's a normal mode. Right now, I'm doing the easy mode and it's already ridiculously difficult for me because
How far in are you?
I am about I think I've played for about 3 hours, but I'm ridiculously meticulous and I look at every little thing. I try to open everything and try to figure everything out. And plus I'm really bad at FPSs, so I've died a couple times. So I'm probably
Okay.
for the average good FPS player, I'm probably an hour and a half into the game. So whatever I'm doing is probably double the amount of time. So I'm still very, very early on, just because
Right.
I am so particular about what I'm doing and everything like that. But so I still have a very long time, and I like it to be like that because that's one of the things that
Well,
used to
stretch
bother
it
me.
out, right? Have
Well,
fun
that's
with
one
it.
of the
Stretch it
things
out.
that used to bother me about WoW, for example, is that a lot of people would power level their characters and go from level 1 to 100 as fast as they possibly could, and
Yeah.
to me, that's so dumb because that is the whole point of the reason why there's 100 levels is to enjoy the leveling experience. So it's
Yeah.
if you're gonna buy a game that you could really only play a couple times, why would you try to zoom through it as fast as possible? Obviously, I know there are certain people that specialize in speed runs and everything like that, and that's a completely different thing. But for me, as a video game player, it's definitely got the replay value, at least in my opinion, definitely has a replay value that's pretty high. And because there's two modes, it just doubles that for me.
Right.
So
Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. So you got 25, so they say 25 hours, so you probably get 30 hours gameplay out of it. And then if you go back, if you're a perfectionist or completionist, you're going to want to go back and do, a second playthrough anyway, maybe even a third one. So, you could be getting, 40 to 50 hours out of a game, right?
They also have in the game, they have coins that you can collect. I don't know what the significance of that is, but there's these coins that you can collect, and there's also there's a little bobblehead that just randomly shows up everywhere. But if you shoot it with a gun or you destroy it somehow, it adds another tick to your achievement. There's an achievement to get all of them.
Right.
And so there are a lot of achievements that are associated with the game that aren't related to advancing your character or advancing through the storyline or anything like that. And I love those types of things for sure. I'll go out of my way to find that stupid bobblehead and shoot it.
See, I'm not like that at all. I'm not grinding per se, get to level 100 as fast as possible, but I'm I want to be doing something all the time. I'm not that big on a lot of puzzle games. The last one I probably really loved was Eco, which is I'm really excited for Last Guardian because of that, because the Shadow of the Colossus I thought was really, really bad. And Last Guardian looks like it's going back more towards how Eco was. But it's good to know that there's more than just... I read an article like that, it says 25 hours of gameplay, and I think, it's not really enough, right? But if there is, extras, I really want to try it VR with the candle. I want to do that so bad.
Oh, man.
Shameless plug. When do you stream? Are you going to be streaming this game?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I definitely will.
And when would that be?
Be streaming it potentially tonight, although I haven't really decided if I'm going to be playing that or League tonight. Normally I try to space it out. On Thursday I played it, so normally today I would want to play League and then the next time stream Resident Evil. But I really want to play it,
so generally speaking, would you say when are your streams?
My streams, I've actually changed up my schedule a bit. I'm now moving to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 9 to midnight, and every other day I switch it up. It's either League or Resident Evil now. So
okay, and that would be at
50-50 shot of catching me streaming Resident Evil 7
right.
between Monday and Wednesday.
Well, people hit that follow button, they'll get the notification anyway, and that is at twitch.tv/WowKitten.
Yep, with 2 Ks and 2 Ns.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad that you pointed that because I didn't realize that. I got your name spelled wrong then in the show title.
Oh,
But
not even a big deal.
that's okay. There you go. You're stealing my followers already. That's okay. But you know, when the podcast comes out, maybe some people will come and check you out and watch me or you. Uh, so, Resident Evil 10 out of 10.
Yep, for sure.
Can't get any better than that.
Hands down.
What do we think of the movie? We were gonna talk Resident Evil last chapter, Last Blood, final chapter Blood, the
It's
final
just
evil,
the
Resident
the final chapter.
the last Resident Evil, the last evil
There you
chapter,
go.
final.
There we go.
Finally, the last Resident Evil. Basically,
Finally,
is what
the
it should have
last
been called.
chapter. No, it definitely was very bad, and I'll tell you why. Because
Okay.
the editing is really hard to get through. It's like a 2-hour long trailer. And what I mean by that is that there are probably every 12 to 25 seconds is a sharp edit cut
Oh,
to
really?
either a different scene or a different angle, like severely different. And it literally happens every, like I said, 12 to 25 seconds.
Wow.
And
Now,
this is the entirety of the movie. And there's a lot of zoom, like really harsh zoom shots, and like I don't know. It's so hard to get immersed in the movie and the storyline because the editing just makes it so unnatural. It makes it so, like I said, like a 2-hour long trailer is what
Right.
it looks like. And I feel like that's horrible because, you know, the movie itself, the idea of it is a great idea because this is I think the sixth or seventh movie. Seventh movie, so everyone knows the main character, but this story is about her specifically and her life and everything about it's like a whole like tie-in to all the other movies. So it's like I feel like out of all of them, this is the one that people are going to want to see the most because it goes into her past and everything like that, but you can't grasp onto it because of the editing, making it so jagged and quick cuts, and it's like you want to throw up. It's so jarring. I don't know what other ways to describe it as.
Well, and this goes back to like when we talked about John Hurt earlier. We talked about like how do you don't know when a movie's going to be good anymore as the actor because you don't know what they're going to do with it. Back, you know, when they were filming movies, even up to the 80s, you had a certain number of takes that you could do because you've only got so much film. Like film costs money, and you've only got so much film, and you say, well, we got, you know, this many, we could do 8 takes on this scene because it's a 10-minute scene, and we got 80 minutes worth of film like budgeted for that. But like people say it all the time, like out of tape. Oh, we're out of tape. Like that means that we're out of time, we're out of money, we're out of whatever, and that's based on the film industry because you got to do it. You got to get it right. You guys got to grow up and make it happen because this is the last chance we have to make the shot, and this is going in the movie right now as we shoot it. But now you don't need to do that anymore. You can fix so many things in post, and maybe that's the editing in this movie could be its downfall if it's that noticeable. Like I'm a huge movie buff. That would be, to me, that would drive me absolutely nuts.
Oh my God, and it's like I'm the same way. Like I will, you know, respect if someone's doing something, but when it's for me, the editing is everything, you know, because it can really dictate how the audience is going to perceive your movie. And like for me, fast cuts have a time and a place, but when I'm not even joking, like the entire movie is fast cuts. Everything. I think the longest scene without cutting is like a minute and a half. It's insane how the entirety, and it's just like for me that really brings it down because I love fantasy movies, I love sci-fi movies, I love all those like weird apocalyptic movies. I love that idea of a movie,
right? But
like I said, it was just so hard to like immerse yourself in the movie because it's just so unnatural.
See, that is rough. Like the which one was it? Resident Evil, the one with the school bus in the desert and the crows.
I've never seen it. I've never seen any of the Resident Evil movies either.
Wow.
I know.
So you're a brand new Resident Evil virgin.
I am
until like right now.
Brand new, fresh.
Okay.
For the
well, that one
storyline.
Resident Evil, whatever it was, the one with the birds and the crows in the desert on the school bus. I'm pretty sure that was the working title. That movie was the same way. It was cut all the time, and it was very, very noticeable when you were doing it. I do want to point out that since we started talking about this, like when we started, doing a little bit of research for the podcast, it has gone up 6% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I noticed that because I saw the movie on Friday and it had like a 35 or 36 or something. And
so average rating is 4.8 out of 10, which is, what are you going to give it after seeing it and after thinking about it a bit?
Well, I'm ridiculously harsh when it comes to this, but I'd probably give it more like a 18 or 20%.
Wow, 1 star. The 1-star
really...
review. Oh, I'm not logging in for that.
Honestly, just because there was really only one scene that I really, really liked. I won't spoil it for anybody who's watching, but there was really only one scene that I was like, oh, hell yeah, that is
We will talk about that in a minute, but we'll do spoiler alerts. But audience gave it 71%. 71% of people liked it, even though they gave it a bad score. So the average rating is 3.8 out of 5.
I think with Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter, quote unquote, is based more off of like professional critics. That's what I'm trying to say. And the audience score is just like if I logged in and you logged in, that we would attribute to that score as opposed to the other one.
That's right. But to be fair, that I don't really care what critics think about it. I care if the audience likes it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care how much money it makes. I care if the audience likes it because they're the people that are. Because here, people talk about box office and stuff like that. A great marketing campaign can give you a good box office hit, but if somebody goes and they walk out and they go, "Well, that movie was shit," well, Fox still has your money. Yeah. Right? It's like Sony still has your money just because you thought the movie was bad. So, haha, joke's on you, you idiot. Right? So, I don't care what critics are saying because critics are like politicians. Like they're in the pocket. A lot of them are in the pocket of. But you do have the audience score. The people who are going on this are people like me and you who do have, a standard to movies that they want to see, and they go on and rate it. So we are critics.
Now,
but we're not on the critics.
I'm going to have to disagree with that because one of my favorite movies that came out in 2013 got like a 20% critic score and like a 2% audience score. But
really?
To me,
what movie was it?
The Counselor.
I'm looking it up.
Cormac McCarthy did the screenplay, and Cormac McCarthy was the man that wrote Not There Will Be Blood, No Country for Old Men. He wrote the book. So he's a writer, and he wrote the screenplay for it. And pretty much, it's just it's a very dialogue-driven movie. Okay,
well, this to me looks like, when did it come out? Guaranteed early year.
That one, 2013.
Yeah, but what month? 2013.
I don't know. I want to say like early fall, late summer, early fall, that area.
Because it looks to me like Oscar bait. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it looks like that.
I don't know. When are the Oscars? I don't watch any
No,
of
it came out in October, so you're good. You're good. But yeah, that got a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I don't know that I would go see that movie based on that.
Well, see, because I always I love movies, and like if I see a trailer that I think is interesting, that piques my interest, I'm seeing that movie, whether or not people say it's good or bad.
That is true.
So I kind of I do it for me. Like I wanted to see Resident Evil because, like I said, I really love the game, and I know the game and the movie aren't necessarily like related right now, but still the same franchise. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go see it. Same thing, like I saw Split last weekend, and that movie was fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
I saw Split. I got to disagree with you on that one because it wasn't what I was expecting when I went in. It was M. Night Shyamalan, so I should have known not to expect much, or not to expect much. That sounds bad, but like I should have expected to not get what I was expecting with an M. Night Shyamalan movie. I thought that the marketing made it look way better than it actually was, and that's the case of the same thing we were talking about earlier with the Avengers games. It's expectation versus what you're gonna get. Like I expected to see, say, more personalities, more like weird things like that. But when I got in there, I won't say it was a bad movie. It was good. I would say, yeah, you should go see it. But I was slightly underwhelmed. Not bad, but for me, probably 6 or 7 out of 10 for that movie.
I would probably give it more of a, I would say like, I'd give it an 8. Just because I really like slow-paced building block type movies,
Right.
but also there were some inconsistencies and things that bothered me, so I won't give it like a full 100% or anything like that. But I thought James McAvoy was absolutely fantastic. I thought all of the three girls
Oh
were
yeah, they did a great job.
I thought the three girls were pretty good, minus like the one blonde girl. I didn't really care for her. I thought the old lady was fantastic. Like the acting and the set design and pretty much everything besides the stories had me sold. And then the story of itself was kind of predictable, but it was, I don't know, I enjoyed it. I especially the ending, which I won't spoil, but the
Yeah.
ending really made me like the movie a lot more, just because it's an ironic ending.
Well,
Um,
let's put it this way. Uh, let's talk some spoiler stuff. We'll talk about Split and we'll talk about Resident Evil. Just so like we'll put it in the show notes. That at this point we're gonna do a little bit of spoilery stuff. We'll probably talk about these two things and then maybe we can kind of clue it up.
Yeah.
Because we're rocking well over an hour here now. And
Yeah.
one segment now I thought we could do is if we're doing this on stream, obviously on Twitch. Maybe we can whip through and take a look at some comments that have been made while we were doing the show, and then we can talk about that as well, kind of like a mail or shout outs or whatever, right? So what? Let's do Split real quick, just because we were talking about two things. They gave it the Batman v Superman treatment, which was everything you need to know to fix or like to move the story along. Oh, it's here on your desktop. Open a folder. Here's all the information you need. Just have the protagonist just watch a couple of videos, and okay, there it is. So
now the one thing I will say about that, though, if I can, is that two things. One, the audience knew what was going on before that part.
That is true. So that's that's a form of dramatic irony, I guess.
Secondly, the girl that found that folder, she didn't use that information to benefit her in the movie. Like the old
Yes,
woman.
she did.
But the old woman told her to say his name out loud.
Yes, but she watched the video to see where his keys were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good point. Very good point. Very good point.
So,
okay, I didn't realize that, but or I didn't like put that together.
It was very quick in the movie, but I remember when I watched it, I was like, "Holy fuck, this is Batman v Superman all over again." Just watch the video and
she needed to get out of that room somehow, and how else was she going to do that besides seeing it on the video?
Oh yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, like I said, it was a good movie. It's got 74% on Rotten Tomatoes actually. Tomatoes or tomato? How do you say it?
I say tomato.
Tomato. Yeah. I don't know what I say tomato, but a couple of podcasts I listen to always say Rotten Tomatoes, and I think it's got like in my head now. If I have a microphone in front of me, I have to say tomato, and then later have some potatoes. And the audience score is 82%. So like, I'm okay with. Not everybody has to like what I like, and not everybody has to dislike what I dislike. If you liked it, that's cool. For me, it was a little underwhelming. Also, I had a weird brain fart before I went in because I thought it was Elijah Wood in this movie. I don't know how I watched all of the marketing materials, and for just one time I was going to see it with a friend of mine, and I said, "Oh yeah, Elijah Wood in it," and then the movie started, and I was like, "That's James McAvoy. I'm an idiot." I have no idea why. It's just a weird thing in my brain. But what did you think about the Mr. Glass cameo at the end?
I don't know what you're talking about.
So at the end, Bruce Willis is in a.
Oh yeah. I noticed that. I thought that was very clever. I also liked M. Night's cameo as well. I thought that was clever.
Oh, who was he?
He was remember how the psychiatrist was looking at the video footage of her apartment?
Yeah.
He was the camera guy that was like.
Oh yeah, so he was. Yeah. Never occurred to me in film, or when I was watching it. But that is a very good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, that basically for anybody who's listening who want to know, at the end of the movie, they're like, oh, what a weird thing. You know, they're in like a cafe and it's just people watching TV about this thing that happened. And you say, oh, that's a strange thing. It kind of remembers me of that thing that happened years ago on that bus or the subway or whatever it was. So what was that guy's name? And the camera kind of pans, and Bruce Willis is like eating a steak and a milk or whatever he's doing, and he's Mr. Glass, and then it just zooms up on his face, and the whole theater went, what the fuck? Like, nobody got it. And I was like, oh, Mr. Glass is from Unbreakable. He was the bad guy in Unbreakable. Bruce Willis was the good guy in Unbreakable. Oh, it's the same universe. It's just a cute little thing. And the internet went bonkers, because as soon as I got home, I went to Google it, and there was like articles like, oh, this is why they're in the same universe. Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares if Split and Unbreakable are in the same universe.
I love like little cameos like that, or like, I don't know, little Easter eggs, I guess.
Yeah, me too. And
I think they're so fun.
Yeah, it's just because M. Night Shyamalan and I guess Bruce Willis thought it would be cool, and he called me and said, hey, you want to be in a movie just for like 2 seconds? It's like, sure. Right?
Definitely.
So spoilers, Resident Evil. Real quick, we got to clue this up shortly, and I do want to read a couple of the comments there.
Okay.
What was that movie about?
Pretty much it's about Alice and her background.
Alice in Chains or Wonderland?
Neither, actually.
Oh, rough.
It's about the main character, the girl who's like just this kick-ass, like, zombie killing awesome lady.
She kicks a zombie Doberman in a red dress. We've seen the movie.
Oh yeah. She pretty much, you come to find that she is a clone, and she is a clone of the AI system that was created based off of in like the previous movies. So she's a clone,
in the
and
hive.
then but you don't figure any of this out until like the last like 10 minutes or so, and she's beside herself because she's like, I thought I was the one, I thought I was real, and her whole world is like completely comes crumbling down. But then she, because she's awesome, she just does what she needs to do anyways because she's awesome.
Okay, so they really like kind of took a cue from the games in that aspect, because in the games there's all sorts of cloning and weird shit like that. Oh, well, that's cool. So what is like the struggle? Like what is the hero's journey in this?
Well, pretty much, I guess in the past movies, they have she's been fighting against the Umbrella Corporation, and in the very beginning of this movie, the AI of that comes up, and she's like, you need to come do this and help me, because if you want to save humanity, you have to do this. And she's like, why should I trust you? And she's like, well, I can tell you something that you really want to know. And so she believes the AI system kind of goes through this struggle of listening to her and not listening to her. And then eventually, when she does end up getting back to the hive, the AI is being truthful, tells her that she's a clone, and then she ends up doing what she needs to do in order to save humanity. So that's pretty much it. So like I said, it literally wraps up the entirety of
okay, so all 7 or 8 or 6 movies or whatever it is.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So she's a clone. Who knew? Part of Umbrella the whole time. Okay, so this is a segment that I just thought about because of a comment somebody made, but I think it would be kind of cool because we are going to keep doing these on Twitch and streaming them, so we can kind of scroll back and address some of the things that some people have said. So I'm just going to read back real quick some of the things. I said hi, you said hello. I said hi, you said GJGHJ. I said testing, you said GBJHG test. Okay, I like that one better. Test, TT, welcome. Okay, good start. Karma, he likes to grind. I saw that earlier, so he's all about the grinding, not for me. Umbrella Corps OT. Can't wait for the remastered Final Fantasy VII. I'm right there with you, buddy. So pumped. Final Fantasy VII is like my childhood, man. Like, I wanted a Buster Sword since... Did I say busted? A Buster Sword since before I wanted a girlfriend. Code Grass Season 3.
Comes out.
Hey, man, it is what it is. So Season 3, I guess that is an anime, Code Gas. So Season 3 is coming out soon, so that is sweet if you are a Code Gas fan. Joyful says Resident Evil, he loves it. Good. Also have the Vive, so that is exciting. But
that is the HTC VR.
Yeah,
right?
It's the one you actually you basically put your phone on your face, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that is exciting. I've get the candle, man. Joyful, tell me how it works. Take a video of it. I know you'll take a video of your game and put it on YouTube. I know you will. Didn't even know about the candles. It's $14, so I'd say give it a shot.
Go for it.
Just taking a quick look down. What's SAO2?
SAO is an anime called Sword Art Online, and it's pretty much exactly what we were talking about with the whole VR segment. Pretty much it's like you put this headset on your face and you are beamed into a virtual world or a game, pretty much. But there's 2 seasons of it, and a movie is coming out in March, on March
Oh,
9th.
okay.
So very excited for that. It's
Cool.
a really good anime. If anyone who's here is into anime, definitely go watch
Well,
it.
it sounds like it is, considering they brought it up in the chat.
Mhm.
No, actually, that sounds pretty good. But it's stuff like that is going to be like the future. That's what you're going to do.
Yeah,
You're going to put on a
yeah.
VR thing, and you're going to get not beamed, but your consciousness, for all intents and purposes, is going to get
Yep.
put into this virtual world, right? Samurai Sanosuke says, "Hello, how are you? My name is Mac. I am a big, huge fan of your channel. I love your amazing streams. Please read this out loud. It will make my day." Is that a fan of yours?
I think he's a fan of yours because
Oh, well, we've never chatted before, but just joined the stream. Okay, well, thanks, Mac. Always happy to have you. Make sure you hit that follow button and then go follow Wow Kitten as well with 2 Ks and 2 Ns and 2 Ts, but Kitten has 2 Ts anyway. Resident Evil 7, watched the trailers, didn't seem... My girlfriend said it was good. Oh, he's talking about Split. Okay, I was going to watch that movie. Never did. My girlfriend said it was good. I watched the trailers, and it didn't seem very good. Here's the thing. I went to see it with a girl. It's a good movie to go see with a girl, right? Because there's lots of, like jump scares and stuff like that. So there's a lot of, like, hand-holding and, like, maybe she grab your arm, sort of like that. Plus, people are very, like... Okay, this is going to sound bad. I read an article about this one time. If you want a girl to... really like you, and again, we're talking about like manipulating, like game companies manipulating
this will
people.
be good. Let's hear this.
But this is like actually like real life manipulating people's psychology. If you go to a movie with a girl, you should go to a horror movie because your brain doesn't really know how to process adrenaline, and it will make the connection that the adrenaline is because you're there just as much as it's because of a horror movie. So if you want somebody like you, and girls or boys, whoever. Boy, bring a boy. Girl, bring a girl. Girl, bring a boy. If you want somebody to like you, go see a horror movie with them because that excitement, they will associate you with that excitement. Yeah, so I don't know. The things you learn on a gaming podcast.
Try it out and let us know.
Go try it out. Or just punch somebody really hard in the face. That'll increase their adrenaline, and they'll like you by the same logic, right?
Maybe they'll be like, "Oh my God, you just punched me. I think I'm in love with you now."
Yeah, exactly. And then you guys can move to Russia together.
There you go.
Russia just legalized domestic abuse.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they decriminalized it. They didn't legalize it. They decriminalized it. So you can beat your spouse once a year, providing it doesn't do serious harm.
Oh,
anyway, my girlfriend doesn't disconnect from me at any time of the day. Oh, well, maybe you tell her to go see a movie by yourself and give yourself a fucking minute. Okay, I think that's a good place to start, or to stop. It'd be a great place to start. It'd be a terrible place to start. Send us some whispers. Send us some messages. We're going to put this up on YouTube. But if you guys have anything that you want us to talk about for next week, this could be a Sunday podcast day sort of thing. We're going to try to keep up on like gaming and movie news and any cool like tech sort of stuff that's coming out. I'm going to get Lily to buy a lamp so that we can see her as the night progresses. I know you didn't know that it was you didn't know this podcast was going to be 2 hours long, but
yeah.
you know.
I mean, normally I'd be at my other computer with the light right there.
Yeah, well, I got mine. Like I could reach my lamp from here. But yeah, shoot us a message. We want to do like, like comments or like fan whatever. I won't say fan because you're not fans yet. But anybody who has any comments or questions or concerns, we love to read them out. And we are going to talk about something next week. I feel like next week will be the beginning of February, so maybe we talk about like upcoming games for February.
Sounds good. Also, for anybody that's watching that has maybe a possible name for what you think would be awesome for our podcast, please do not hesitate to let us know.
That is true.
Because we're currently in the mix of trying to figure that out, and
we have asked Instagram. We have asked Twitch. I'm going to ask YouTube here now and iTunes. But we have to have a title on this before it goes out. It's a problem. So I know the title of this one is going to be Resident Evil in 2017. 10 out of 10 game, 1 out of 10 movie. right? But
That's a great title.
yeah,
Absolutely great title.
so we're gonna get this up, but we do have to think of some sort of name, I guess, for the iTunes. But it's out on Twitch right now, obviously. So we can always has to be in the dark. Hey, that's true. Escape horror. Well, for me, I'm like a horror anyway. Just looking at me, I don't need to be dark or anything. I'm just like just that rough to look at, right? But that's where the podcast comes in because we can just people can just listen to the sultry sound of my voice. So shameless plug time. www.twitch.tv/she is at wow kitten, KKITTENN. But wow is just wow, right?
Yep.
WOWKKITTENN. Wow kitten,
Yes.
2K is 2 N's. I am at twitch.tv/nacho_and_dog. And those are actually underscores, not the word, because that would be weird. This is going to go up on YouTube. And there may be an edit, or it might just be this video as it is. If you're a super huge fan, if you want to listen to it again, if you missed the beginning, check out YouTube, Nacho and Dog. It'll be up there, I would say, tomorrow. And then we're going to have to put all sorts of links on our stuff so you guys can subscribe to the podcast if you want to, so you can find it on iTunes or Google Play, wherever we can get it up there. Anything else before we sign off?
Just one last thing I'd like to say, guys, anyone who's in this stream or hearing this on YouTube or podcast, Nacho and Dog, the channel is only 4 subscribers away or followers away from 500. So make
that
sure
is
you
true.
go and follow them. Go follow them. They only need 4 more people.
Thank you very much.
You can be one of those awesome 4 people. So go do that if you enjoyed this at all.
All right.
Other than that,
the last thing, probably we will be setting up a Patreon, I think, for this podcast at some point. So just gonna throw that out there because we do have the YouTube channel, the Twitch, the podcast. We're gonna be trying to put out way more content for everybody, but part of that means buying some better equipment and getting some editing software and stuff like that. So eventually there will be a Patreon up. If anybody wants that information, they can message us. Cool.
sounds great. Well, it has been
All
a
right.
lovely podcast.
Yeah, this is great. This is like 2 solid hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, so probably next week around the same time we'll be on Twitch, probably Saturday or Sunday after or evening, and we'll do it again.
Sounds fantastic.
Cool. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, take care, everyone.